Harvie S., and we are here at Harvie's Corner at Kolstein, NYC. This is the new podcast. We're just starting, and it's showing the great bass players that are around New York, that they play in all kinds of bands. They do all kinds of stuff. They make records as a leader, but they don't often get enough exposure. And I think as a bass shop in the Kolstein community, we should honor these people. And so today I'm very fortunate to have a visit from Peter Brendler.
I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you, Peter.
I'm honored.
Oh, I'm honored to have you here. So great. So I'm kind of like more into, if people, they want to know about you, they just go on Wikipedia or they go on, get your bio from all kinds of places. So what I want to talk about is, what are you doing now?
So I am a working New York bass player.
That's for sure.
And for whatever that entails, I play thankfully most nights of the week, and I am happy, proud to be making my income doing what I love. It's not all glamorous. Sometimes I'm showing up and just like, wow, this is kind of tough. But you know what? I try to find a way to connect with the instrument and to make beautiful music in varied settings. So what do I do? Like, for example, this coming week, I'm at Little Branch on Tuesday. I don't know if you know that spot. That's
in Jersey?
No, that's in Manhattan on
Little Branch. I'm not familiar.
It's a little club on 7th Avenue South.
Oh, thank you.
Nice little piano trio spot.
Wow.
I'm there on Tuesday. I'm at Brush Culture in New Jersey on Wednesday. Yeah. Back at Little Branch on Thursday. So I do a variety of different gigs with different people. Try to make myself available and versatile, and hopefully saying yes to things that I'm enjoying, and mildly turning down things that I'm too busy to take at this point. So
that sounds like but you're like we are the lifeblood of this music scene. All these great things are happening. We don't get a lot of credit, but we make this stuff happen as bass players.
I hope so.
And that's the purpose of this podcast, to show this. Now, when you were young, starting out on the bass, like how old were you when you started to play the bass?
So I was a teenager. I had this sort of funny trajectory where I come from a family. I have 3 older siblings. My parents asked them all to take piano lessons. None of them, it didn't stick with any of them. And I was like, I want to take piano lessons. Like, no, we know how that's going to turn out. But I got really into music. And for some reason, when I was about 13, 14 maybe, I was like, I want to play electric bass. I just had this thing. I was like, I want to play electric bass. But my parents wouldn't get me one because I wasn't doing well in school. And they're like,
typical jazz musician.
Exactly. So, but I was exactly. But I was also at my school at the time. I was really into woodshop, and I had a great teacher who was also a guitar player, and he had built a guitar. And I was like, "Do you think I could build an electric bass?" And he said, "Sure, I'll help you do it." It took me a year because I was not, I was 14 years old trying to build an instrument. And basically,
this is a great story. Wow.
I was basically building a copy of a P bass. You'd think I'd had it all done and then I messed up the wiring, whatever. But after, in a way, it was a great lesson because let me tell you, when you put a year into doing something and I finally got this instrument in my hands, it was like, well, I'm not going to quit now. I knew when I was 14, that 15 or something, when I finally finished and got it into my hands, that, this was something. So in a way, I'm super thankful to my parents for saying, you figure this out on your own. And I did. And then it led to me feeling deeply committed to being a musician.
Well, it shows the commitment and that there's no way like I say, you don't choose music. It chooses you.
Yeah, right.
And you were like, it's in you. You said, I don't have a choice. This is what I got to do.
Exactly.
And that's why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Not because you couldn't do anything else. It's because this is what's in your DNA or whatever.
And I wake up every day and it's just like all I think about, it's just the first thing I think about in the morning, start running through things in my head that I want to get to on the bass or the piano. And it's a wonderful lifelong puzzle journey, exploration that I think we're, very lucky to be on.
Absolutely. It's so great that you're doing that. And now this morning I was listening to Message in Motion.
Right.
And Tell us about it, because I mean, I'm just going to say right off, I loved it.
That's so kind of you to say, and I really appreciate that. So,
show it.
Oh, sure. Okay, absolutely. So this is Message in Motion. I did 2 albums for Positone Records. The first one is Outside the Line, and this is an older album that I did a duo album with John Abercrombie, whom I had the honor and pleasure of working with for a number of years. So there's certain, I think as maybe a blessing and a fault in me is that I like all sorts of music, and I know as you do too, and I love really straight ahead jazz. I love fusion. I love Latin music. I love weird stuff, and so I'm always trying to bring all those things together. And I also, as far as the band that's on these 2 Positone albums, I really love chordless music. I know you've done a lot, with your work with vocalists, when the bass has to take on a greater role, which is cool, right? I mean, it's like some of my favorite music is the Joe Henderson trio recordings with Ron, with Charlie Hayden, with Rufus Reid. I mean, there's a Dave Holland one. I adore that stuff. And so I had this idea. I was like, I want to do a chordless band, and I want to bring in people from the sort of different worlds that I love and see if I can have them meet in the middle. And so Rich Perry he's a weird straight ahead saxophone player, I would say. He generally inhabits.
Well, he's an individual.
He's an individual, right? He's not straight bebop. He's, a little bit, but. And then Peter Evans is a fantastic musician, trumpet player, friend of mine, who is full on into the weird world.
Thanks to you, I'm hip to him now.
Yeah. So I thought, what if I have these guys kind of meet in the middle and see what it brings out of each other? And it was really interesting, working with those guys to see how they would sort of pull each other in different ways. How Peter would, bring out the weirder part in Rich, and Rich would maybe bring out a slightly more inside aspect of Peter's playing. And they played great together. And
totally,
I loved having that band. And I've led that band for a number of years. And on this Message in Motion, I did have some chordal ideas, and so I brought Ben Monder into the mix just to.
And Ben fit in beautifully.
Yeah, thanks. So that was great. I think this came out in 2016 or 17, and after that came out, and with some of the changes in the record business and my life and the pandemic in there, I kind of stopped band leading for a while. I wanted to just throw myself into sideman work and really
I understand.
You know that feeling? It's like
I understand.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to be, like you. Like, I want to be the guy who the phone rings and someone says, I'm sure this happens, like, Harvie, can you make this Latin gig? Harvie, can you do this, straight ahead thing? Harvie, can you do, all the different things that you're so comfortable with doing? So I really dedicated myself to that, and I think I've gotten to a point where that's, working to a sense. And but now lately I've been writing again, and I've been wanting to, band lead again. So I've got a couple of my own gigs coming up with some newish projects that I'm really excited about. So
good. Well, you'll have to keep us posted on that. We're going to have Harvie's Corner Facebook page.
Great.
And, when you have some stuff, send it over, and we'll put some of that stuff up. I want to, on that thing, really feature bass players.
That's so cool.
Really trying to do that with Harvie's Corner. I mean, the Kolstein shop has violins, cellos, violas. It's an all-purpose string shop.
Right.
But it did start out as a bass shop.
Yeah.
From Sam Kolstein. He worked with Scott LaFaro, bass, and Percy Heath. So it's so I'm doing that end of it. I'm not the expert on violins, so I'm doing bringing the bass thing out, and plus this store we have so many wonderful instruments, and you got to try a few.
Yeah, and as I was relating to a few other great bass players who are here, and it is so cool, and I'm so happy that this is here, because it's funny. I mean, and that's what I was kind of trying to pick your brain about a little bit earlier. I spend all day, every day thinking about bass, and if you were to ask me about any of these basses, like, what's the lineage of that bass and how much do you think it would cost? No idea. I don't know that much about the instruments themselves. And
that's okay.
It's challenging, right? And so I am so excited to be able to come to a place with, somebody who's knowledgeable as a jazz musician, as a bass player like yourself, and say, like, tell me about this bass. Tell me what you hear in it, what you're looking for in a bass, how it, because I think these things are really important. We all just want kind of, at least I oftentimes just like, I hope for the best with this instrument, but it's better to be slightly more informed.
Right. Well, I've got 5 basses that we fixed up. They were in just wonderful playing condition. And I feel that when you're looking to buy a bass, you don't want to buy a bass that's not ready. Mm-hmm. You want to buy a bass that's pretty much almost there.
Yeah.
And, there's always some little, adjustments you want to do, but minimal things.
Right.
So that's it. I'm glad you liked it, but it seems to be going well. The basses are kind of going fast.
That's great.
So I'm pretty happy with it.
Good.
So anyway, I think that's it. It's so great to talk with you.
Likewise.
And hang out, because I never really had much chance to hang out with you.
No.
And I'll have to come and catch you live, and I love your CD, and I'll listen to the other ones.
Thank you. I'll be bringing this band to Smalls with Rich Perry, and
when
October 18th.
Okay, you'll send me a message.
I will do.
And if I'm free, I don't know. I don't have my calendar in front of me.
I know you're going to be busy, so
no, I'm not busy all the time. I have
Okay.
a lot of nights free, but I'll come. But Peter,
thank you so much, Harvie. This has been an absolute
thank
pleasure.
you for doing this. And when the podcast is done, we'll send you a link and we'll keep it going.
Great. Thank you, Harvie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.